Gauteng Human Settlements and Infrastructure Development MEC Lebogang Maile is currently briefing the media. He's also expected to inspect the extent of the damage caused due to the theft of a 10-meter copper pipe at the Hani Baragwanath Academic Hospital in Soweto. Let's take you there now.
The doctors, the nurses, support staff, we can never thank them enough for their prompt action, because their action has saved lives. So also the ward that was flooded, Ward 38, we had several areas where there was flooding for various reasons, whether it's the design of the roof or because it was a very heavy rain, maybe, we had issues. Also, part of the issues really about maintenance of the gutter system and what have you. Staff had to work very hard you've seen the video on social media in Ward 38. Nurses did not abandon the patient. We evacuated the patient. It was mainly in the main ward, but the patients in the other wing, they were not, we evacuated them later when we handed the ward over for repairs, but the main leakage was in the main ward. So yeah, I just want to thank the staff for their heroic action. It is not easy, but that's what we're here for, to save lives, and we're proud that we did save lives. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, MSNCO. Be short and brief. I will take name in the media house now. Yeah. No, it's fine. We will. Okay. Introduce yourself, then the institution. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Linda from Africa MEC. I've got 2 questions, very short. Did you receive a briefing from your team before coming here on what is happening here, particularly with regards to the issue now being labeled as sabotage? Like, what are your investigations from your own department telling you? The labor dispute, what could really be behind this, right? Number 2, you are no stranger to the Human Settlements Department, but now it's been merged with the Infrastructure Department. Is there an appreciation of how big the scope of work is when you look at now taking on hospitals and schools, but also because you say there are a lot of infrastructure problems, especially at an academic hospital?
The first question, yes, we have received a report. And the police are busy investigating. We don't have that capacity as the department, but on the basis of the, as I've said, the location of these rooms that are storing our, what do you call, plant rooms, and the access. On that basis, our conclusion and suspicion is that it's internal and it's sabotage, it's deliberate. So we don't have any concrete as yet, but that's our view. Your second question, you are correct. The scope is big. It has its own advantages and disadvantages. One of the advantages is that the 2 portfolios can complement each other. I'll give you an example. There's a school that we are supposed to attend to, Maibuye. GID, Infrastructure Department processes were going to take long. We would have appointed a contractor, I think, by next year, April. But because of how human settlement is organized, we are able to appoint a contractor now in January, and they will start. So they complement each other. And then you have build environment skills from both with different experiences, and that also helps to complement each other. But anyway, I don't do the actual work. I provide oversight. I must make sure that decisions are taken, that systems are in place, that the procedures are followed, and there's decision making. So it's quite big. It complements each other. I can't complain about getting more work when there's a high unemployment in our country. I must count myself lucky that I've been given more work when other people can't find work.
Can you just elaborate on the status of the patients that had to be evacuated from the theaters that were affected by the theft, especially those that were dependent on the ventilation itself? Were there those that were actually affected and also your reaction to the assertion that this could have been an inside job. This could be your colleagues, people that are working under you. Your reaction to that.
The patients that were evacuated from ICU, there was no the theft of the copper pipe did not affect their well-being, because remember, in an ICU situation, we are already ready for backup should anything happen. So we have also oxygen cylinders. Every patient in ICU, every bed in ICU has got an oxygen cylinder next to it. So the moment the clinician realized that the ventilators and monitors were alarming, and when they checked, the oxygen level was 0, they then immediately hooked the patient onto the cylinder close by. We didn't have to go and look for cylinders. We are prepared for emergency. So then we used the portable oxygen cylinders to support the patient during evacuation process into the COVID ICU, what was a COVID ICU. But at that time, there was only one patient in that COVID ICU, and the patient had been there for 2 weeks, so the patient was no longer infectious. So the patients were not compromised by the relocation. Granted, is always, transporting a patient on intensive therapy, ICU, it always has got its challenges. But that's why I'm saying I'm proud that the team managed to do effort without any much effort, because they were ready to do that. And we don't have challenges with equipment. We didn't have to carry equipment with us, because where they were going, life support equipment were already there in that area. So yes, no, there was no compromise to the life of patients during evacuation.
Yeah. I just wanted to find out the information know how much.
No, we don't, but it's not in the millions, and we are very interested and monitoring that situation closely, because they had to follow emergency procurement. In fact, I have asked them to give me a report today on the financial implications, because we are not going to use this situation as an excuse to inflate prices and pay what is not market related. So rest assured, you are not going to have a COVID-19 scandal because there's an emergency. If there would be, we will certainly act quick and decisive. So we can assure the public that we are doing everything in our power to ensure that there's no inflation of prices, there's no corruption, and at the same time respond immediately to the best of our abilities.
Following this incident, what has the hospital done to address the security concerns? In terms of the water leakage from the roof, the security system question, was the leakage linked to the cable tap? Was that part of the cable tap for the leakage? Was it during that separate incident?
No, I don't want to say that is the cause. But there has been the leakage, as you have seen. We are attending to the leakage, and there has been stealing of the copper and pipes, and we're dealing with them separately. The security issue, it's an ongoing. The head of security has updated us that every 3 years they do an assessment. Of course, there are resources that are needed to beef up security and all that, but there is security. There will never be perfect security, but there is security, and they are looking at those measures throughout to improve. Yeah.
Okay. Let me take the last round.
The name is Bara from the Grand, and it's not an issue you as a director about the type of how what your opinions are given the fact that this may be from an act by people who were under you and were good.
Yeah, I'm very much, if it is true, can be proven to be true, then I'm very much disappointed. Then, because as a health facility, our value is that whatever we do is patient-centered. So we expect the people who are directly involved in healthcare, which are the clinicians, the nurses, and the support staff. must also be patient-centered. So if it's through collusion from any one of us, then clearly that person does not share the same value and clearly does not belong here. So I'm just disappointed that clearly I think there are indications that there's some collusion. Even if the person is from outside, if you look at the areas where they broke into, somebody wouldn't have done that without somebody from within assisting. So for me, it is very much concerning that people working within a hospital environment can have such devious thoughts that they can sabotage services to this extent, because this is a matter of life and death. We could have, all those patients could have perished. And for what purpose? Even if you say it was just somebody who wanted to sell it as a scrap metal, there are many, you could have stolen any other metal anywhere else, but not in that area. Because whoever stole that 10-meter copper pipe from the plant room next to ICU knew exactly that it was an oxygen pipe and that it was going to ICU. Because there were many other pipes could have stolen in that area, but he chose that one. So I don't know what the motivation is. It's the subject of the police to investigate.
From News on Africa again. CEO, and maybe you can answer this question, Emisi. Are you considering a review in the security contracts, right? Because you speak about a collusion, and this person would have had to leave the gate to exit with that copper, right? So it means that if there was a collusion, the security would also be involved. Are you looking at reviewing those security contracts? Because from the other parties that are interested in this matter, what they're saying is that there's a continuous renewal of these security contracts. So are you looking at it? And broadly, MEC, when you took on this infrastructure development portfolio, did you do an assessment of how big the infrastructure problems are in Gauteng and what needs to be done really to avoid, situations where there's flooding in critical wards?
The security contracts are done at the Provincial Department of Health. There's a decision we took as the Executive Council to insource, and that's one of the reasons why they keep on renewing, because we're still dealing with the details and the implications of this insourcing. And I'm sure that health will, at an appropriate time, make an announcement and a determination. We must not preempt the investigation. As I've said, that there is a huge chance. We did not say conclusively there is sabotage. So we can't then act on the basis of a possibility and start making pronouncements which might come back to haunt us. So that's the first thing. We have a sense of the state of infrastructure in our province. But you will appreciate that there is infrastructure that is competency of municipalities. Take stormwater, for instance. It's a competency of municipalities. So even if we understand the challenges, it is municipalities that must act, because in terms of the constitution, we then have the mandate, the resources and the competency to execute those responsibilities. So what we are doing is to coordinate all the efforts of municipalities and make sure that the resources are directed accordingly and to where they are needed most. But there is no doubt that there is a huge infrastructure backlog, whether in terms of energy, in terms of water, in terms of the sewerage and sanitation. So there is a big infrastructure backlog. Yeah.
Maybe for you, CEO, I'm just curious, is it the first time that this has happened this year? Because given that we've had 2 incidents just in a week, is it the first time that they've stolen that copper? Yeah.
There was another incident that involved the trauma ward, Ward 1, not long ago, which we have also reported to the police, where a copper pipe was also stolen.
We're done.
No, thanks for it. But you can join us for the site visit so that she'll see.
So, MC, before maybe you go, I think we just need to correct one thing. I hear colleagues keep on asking about cable theft. And the question is persistent. There's no incident of cable theft.
No, remember, I raised that. I said to them, it's a pipe and copper. There are 3 incidents. It's pipes, copper, and the leaking roof. Yeah. So I said that. That's why they are. Yeah. Because that's what we were told. 3 incidents. Yeah. Sure. It's not a problem. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Must have a Merry Christmas.
Sure.
The Gauteng government briefing on the incidents at Baragwanath Hospital. We just heard MEC Lebogang Maile saying there were 3 incidents that he's been informed about: pipes, copper and cable. Offensive Stimo then will give us an update on that story a little bit later on.